Welcome to our third episode radio podcast, Lifting You Up with Kasandra Prieto, your best friend in real estate, sponsored by Tucson Appliance, and Chris and Corbin Edwards. We are so excited about our guest today. We have the one and only Claudia Sanchez. I'm so grateful that she's here. Get to call her my friend, my colleague, and man, I just am really excited about all the stuff she's going to be sharing. Claudia, how do you feel?
It's a pleasure to be here with you, and I always love your energy. So thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much for being here. I was so grateful that you're like, yes, I'll be there. So with that said, we want to dive into just kind of a reminder for everyone. Why are we doing this? What is the mission behind Lifting You Up with Kasandra Prieto? And truly, the sponsorship and Chris Edwards, he is so behind this mission and so committed. Our mission is to elevate, empower, and celebrate the stories of Hispanic leaders and local business owners in our community. Through meaningful, heartfelt conversations, we shine a light on individuals like today's who have overcome cultural conditioning, self-doubt, and struggle and have chosen to rise, lead, and inspire. As you already know, we've had a couple of guests already, and that's truly been what they've taught us. This platform, hosted by Chris Edwards and myself, is dedicated to telling more than just stories. It's about sharing real turning points, deep self-discoveries, and the wisdom gained along the way. We believe that these voices matter. They reflect the heart of our community and the strength within our culture. So, without further ado, Claudia, do you want to say anything before I dive into your bio?
No, please, by all means, dive in.
Dive in. Okay, so Claudia Sanchez, nurse practitioner and wellness advocate. If you've ever met Claudia Sanchez, you know right away she leads with her heart. She's not just a board-certified family nurse practitioner. She's also a U.S. Air Force veteran, a business owner, and a woman who truly cares about helping people feel their best from the inside out. Firsthand, I gotta say, I've truly experienced that. And oh my gosh, I didn't even know some of these things, Claudia. You've been hiding this from me. I've known you for how many years? Claudia is the founder of Hydration Therapy and Weight Loss Center right here in Tucson, where she blends years of medical experience with a passion for wellness, whether it's IV hydration, which I 100% recommend, medical weight loss, or helping someone gain their confidence through aesthetics treatment. Her approach is always so personal and professional, holistic, and full of compassion. I can't emphasize that enough. Her journey in healthcare started over 20 years ago, and she's only 30, working in oncology as a chemotherapy infusion nurse. That work shaped her heart and deepened her commitment to caring for others, and it's something that she brings into every part of her practice today. Claudia is also part of the amazing team at Brains and Beauty Estheticians, where she continues to serve both English and Spanish-speaking clients. She's creating safe, welcoming spaces where people can heal, grow, and glow, literally and emotionally. Whether she's working one-on-one with patients or cheering someone on in their wellness journey, Claudia shows up with kindness, skill, and energy that's simply contagious. Oh my gosh, I mean, can I give an applaud for all of this?
Thank you.
Claudia, I'm so impressed. I feel like we've known each other how long? At least 5 years, 10 years, 7 years?
You know, I believe it's been maybe 3 or 4 years.
Oh gosh. Way off. I feel like I've known you for such a long time.
Right.
I'm also kind of reverting it to rumbo al éxito. I've been there that long, but
yes.
I love finding things out that I didn't really know. And I want to dive in with you today. This whole podcast is about meaningful conversations. sharing a little bit about you that can inspire someone that's going through something similar. But you have built so much in the years that you've been here, and we really want to know about the the stepping stones that got you there. So I'm going to start with our first question.
Sure.
What has been one of the moments, I know that you probably have had many, that has shifted your life, maybe even a turning point that changed your path entirely that you can share with us?
Sure. The moment that really shifted my life was when I held my daughter for the first time. I was very young. I was 17 years old. Um, I was playing family. I was engaged at 15, married at 16, and had my first child at 17. So it was that very moment when I held her in my arms. I had a very tough childhood,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't know how to be a mother. So
At 17.
yeah, so I wanted better for myself. I wanted better for her. And all those struggles, all those difficulties to that point just make you realize that there has to be something better for us.
Yeah. And you were 17 when you first held her. Um, I want to know a little bit more about how you felt. How
Well, I
does it?
didn't know what I was doing,
Uh-huh.
quite frankly.
Uh-huh.
I had no idea how to take care of a baby.
Uh-huh.
I had to grow up very fast. I didn't have a childhood. And in our household, when I was a child, we were treated as adults. So
Okay.
we had to do things very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no safe space to cry or to talk or to ask questions. And so when my daughter came along, I wanted different. I wanted something better for her. I wanted her to feel loved, to be heard, and I wanted to change that, the past. My mother also was a single mother, and I didn't want that to continue.
That is so incredible to hear that you knew that. Right? A lot of us, it takes us a whole lifetime to even figure out that we want something different. Where did you grow up, Claudia? Here in Tucson?
I grew up on the south side of Tucson.
Okay,
Yes.
nice. Uh huh. Shout out
So
to Southside Tucson.
shout out to Southside
Yes.
Tucson.
So you grew up in Southside Tucson, um, and you knew at that moment that you wanted something different.
Yes.
So tell me, where does that take, Claudia? How did that shape and mold you? So you say, this is not what I want. What are some of the first things that you did? You say, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to just get started entrepreneur. What does it look like for Claudia?
So when I was married very young, I was married for 8 years, and then suddenly I became a single mom.
Okay.
So with that, you have a lot of responsibility. I had two children at the time. The father wasn't as involved as I would have liked him to be. And you have responsibilities. I was going to school, I was taking care of my children, I was going to work, all the things that we do because we have to.
Mm-hmm.
So shortly after that, I realized I need a career. I need to be able to provide for these children because I'm their sole provider. So thank goodness during that time I had my ex-mother-in-law, who is like a second mother to me now. And she was really the pillar of support.
Mm-hmm.
She was and continues to be just amazing. So a lot of credit goes to her.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had this resiliency that I wanted to have a good life and fulfill my educational, I guess, interest because I knew I had a brain and
Mm-hmm.
a good head on my shoulders. And I thought, okay, what can I do with this now? And all the struggles and difficulties that you go through really humble you. And there's a vulnerability there
Mm-hmm.
that you learn to turn into something positive.
Right.
All the struggles, all the difficulties, in the end, when you look back, have helped to shape who you are today. So I do appreciate that.
I love that you said that. I want to ask you. So I'm a huge fan of Tony Robbins.
Oh, yes.
And I think everybody knows. But I remember what you're saying right now really resonated. I remember him saying something about sometimes we need to associate enough pain to a circumstance before we have a shot at actually shifting that. Is and kind of as an example, if I tell you or if somebody tells me go to the gym, Cassandra, you're gonna look great, you're gonna you're gonna lose weight, you're gonna feel good, okay, but what happens when you go to the doctor and the doctor says if you don't stop eating all the stuff you're eating, if you don't start working out, we're gonna have to cut off your leg, right?
Right?
That you're like, whoa, now it becomes a priority or something that opened up the possibility. So it's kind of bittersweet when I hear you say it was so young that you experienced, but it was such a blessing for you to.
It was a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
It does make you think differently. And when you have such responsibility at a young age, you don't have time to, I guess, feel like a victim and say, why? Or why did this happen to me? Or how? You just have to react and get going. And you look at your children and you think, okay, I have to put food on the table. I have to put clothes on their back. I have to move.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't sit there and think about it too much. You just have to do it.
So, Claudia, and another question. I love this conversation. Thank you so much for sharing all this. I see so many people and women, men, that they know that, right? But how many of them choose different? They don't get to that level of I know I have these responsibilities and I know what I got to do. What pushed you to get to that, right? Because that's not the average person. The average person is like, I know what I got to do, and you know what? I'm going to go out, I'm going to do this, I'm going to leave them with, I mean, most people don't really turn inward and say, I got to do this because of this is my circumstances. A lot of people suppress, a lot of people ignore, and 20 years later when you have an adult child, you're like, why didn't I do things different? What do you think was the driver for you to so early on say, I mean, you were young enough probably to decide to go to school,
Yes.
right? But where do you think that drive and that came from, that fire that most people don't experience?
It started very, very early, and it has a lot to do with how I was brought up.
Mm-hmm.
The dad was gone.
Mm-hmm.
He would come in and out of our lives here and there. We would see him occasionally. And when we did spend time with him, it was not pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
Our mother, I can see now she probably had some mental health issues that were undiagnosed and untreated. So there was not much of a parent there. She was there, but not there.
Mm-hmm.
There was no conversation. There was no structure.
No
there
guidance.
was no guidance at all. And we were basically the parent. As far as back as I could remember, we were responsible for food on the table. We were responsible for cleaning the house. All the things that adults should do.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have that safe space. We didn't have conversation or not even like things. Oh, we do this for the holidays. Or we didn't know any of that. All that was foreign to us. And when I was about 8 years old, I did spend the night at one of my little friend's house, and that's when I realized the difference. I always felt there's something really wrong in this house. I just don't know. And when I spent the night for the first time, I did let my mother know, and I said, I'm going to my friend's house to spend the night. There was no, let me call this parent and find out where you're going, or there was no follow-up on that. She said, okay. And I remember packing a little suitcase with my clothes in there, and I walked myself to my friend's house. And I was just amazed. And I saw both parents. I saw bath time, dinner time, play time, story time, communication, interaction. a family. And I was just blown away. And I was like, wow, I've never seen that before. So when it was time to go back home, um, I didn't want to go back home.
Of course. Yeah.
So when I went back home, then that's when I confirmed there's something really wrong here and I don't like it. So early on, you just don't know. You're a child. I was
Right.
8 years old, and I thought, well, what can I do to get myself out of this situation? You're not being heard. You're not being taken care of. You're not being protected. So you just have to wait. You just kind of wait. And always in my mind, in the back, as far back as I could remember, something would happen, or I would see something and I would think, well, that was dumb, but I wouldn't voice it.
Mm-hmm.
So you grow up with seeing that, and you want to fix it, but you're too young. You can't.
Mm-hmm.
So you dream of it. You're like, well, I could be doing this, or I could be experiencing this, or I could be having family time, or play time, or nap time. Those things that kids do.
Mm-hmm.
So you dream of it.
Wow, I'm in awe right now of this conversation. I feel like there are so many individuals that go through a similar situation and choose. And I don't know. I mean, you're the doctor, so you tell me if I'm incorrect. But I mean, I think there's genetics that plays into it. I think there's upbringing, and then there's choice. Even at a young
Yes.
age, you still get to decide what each thing means to you, each circumstances. And I get so curious, and over the last few um, interviews with people, is what makes that younger person in us decide to fight versus what makes us decide to throw our lives away and do the same and keep that chain of trauma for the rest of your life and your kids' lives. And you're clearly one of the ones that said, this is not what I want. Such a young age. And fast forward, tell me, I mean, look at where you are today.
Yes. It's really has been a blessing for me. And you don't
Uh-huh.
really see it that way until you're much older and you think back and you see people behaving the same way, or you see a young child with similar characteristics that you have, and you think, well, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I was
Yes.
there. That was me.
Yeah. Claudia, so my next question is gonna be, what what do you think up to this point in your life have you learned about yourself that you didn't know? O sea, que not just something that you learned in general, but about you that you never thought que decías, oye, pues nunca imaginé que sería tan fuerte o que sería tan. What have you learned about you that you never imagined at this point in your life that you would have been or that you would have done?
Yeah, I've actually learned a lot along the way, and I did learn that I am a lot stronger than I have ever imagined, and that has been such a great blessing. In all those difficulties, that responsibility, and all the trials that I've gone through, really shaped me into the person I am today.
Mm-hmm.
And you learn how to take things in a different way.
Uh-huh.
Something when you're younger, for example, if someone picks a fight with you, of course, your instant reaction, you get your emotions get the best of you, and you probably are going to have a physical fight there.
Mm-hmm.
Not now. I'm calling the police, first of all.
Yes.
And I'm going to come
Amen.
out when the police arrive.
Yeah.
Okay, I have no time for that.
Be like, hey, I called them. By the
Yes.
way, P.S.
Yes.
I'm like that too.
So, it's just such a different space that you're in, and you protect your energy, and you protect yourself, and you really take a dive and look at yourself and think, what can I do for self-care?
Mm.
What if it wasn't for self-care? I don't know where I would be, but I learned early on that nutrition is important.
Mm-hmm.
Supplements are important depending on what you have going on. Exercise is important. all these things that you didn't see when you know, growing up, in my case. But you learn how to really learn who you are, and how to love and how to be vulnerable and how to make changes, because sometimes it's you can relate to things when you've gone through them.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's not textbook.
Right.
Books can tell us, well, you know, this is how this should be, but if you haven't experienced it, you're not going to understand it.
Right.
So it's when you have those difficulties and you have those struggles that really make you into who you are. And without those experiences, I really don't know who I would be today.
You wouldn't be who you are today. And I love that perspective. Again, kind of just diving into we have two choices to believe that everything that happened to us is why we are where we are and we continue growing. It's not our fault what happened to us, it's our responsibility to fix ourselves. And you are the
Absolutely.
prime example of that because you could have chosen so differently. And I love the level of sensitivity you have. I feel like it's a additional layer of observation of the things that you experience through just interaction, through walking through life. You see more than most people don't, and that's the sensitivity because of the survival in the early years, right? But you've
Right.
used that beautifully.
Well, thank you. You do gain a lot of resiliency. I do feel very resilient, but I also feel because I didn't have the compassion and the empathy that you crave that. And so then you give it.
Uh huh. Yes.
And I think that's what has really helped me as a provider also to have that empathy with my patients and connect with them and try to help them as best as I can. So you do have that heart and the passion for it because when you're there, you can relate to things and then you can empathize
Mm-hmm.
when you've experienced things also.
Right. And I love also that you mentioned sometimes when we don't receive something, we are so full of it, we want to give it to
We
someone
do.
else. But if we don't work on ourselves, if we don't nurture ourselves, if we don't, what did you say, self care?
Self-care, yes.
We don't have it to give. We have to fill ourselves in order to be able to give that to others. And it sounds like you've really, really got a good formula going on.
Yeah.
Claudia, thank you. My last question to you, we've got about 7 minutes. Um, what wisdom, if anybody, if you know that anybody was listening to you right now and relayed to any of what you said, what would be the number one uh, comment or statement or piece of advice that you would want to give them if they were going through something similar? Maybe they weren't so fortunate, or maybe they didn't decide what you decided early on.
I think the biggest message is don't compare yourself to others. Look within yourself. If you're going to compare, compare to yesterday and stay in today. If you go too far ahead, you're going to start getting anxious. If you start looking back, you're going to get depressed and those what if scenarios are going to pop up in your head. So stay true to yourself. Do the self-care. Do the self-care. Invest in yourself. You should be your first love and you should put yourself above wife, husband, children, because if we don't do that, we're not going to be able to take care of what
Mm-hmm.
we need to take care of. Anything could happen at any moment, and if we're not put together, then that's when we fall apart.
We can't take care of others if we're not taking care of ourselves.
That's
What
correct.
is that, the airplane, you put on your mask first in order to help everybody else, and if you are not filling up your bucket, you will you don't have you have leftovers to give, and people don't get the best of you. So yes.
Yes, and don't be afraid to be vulnerable. And
Vulnerable,
don't be
I love
afraid
that.
to share your experiences, your difficulties. It doesn't make you any less. And I believe it makes you stronger,
It makes you be someone with more courage.
more experience, more
Mm-hmm.
courage. Then you learn to have empathy, you learn to have compassion, you learn to listen, you learn to observe, you learn so much.
I love it. So, we've got a few minutes here. Claudia, thank you so much for being here. I want to make sure that if anybody wants to reach out to your clinic, has any questions, that they know how to get a hold of you. Can you share how they can reach out to your office?
Absolutely. Our phone number is 520-327-2223. And we're located on the corner of Fort Lowell and Country Club at, let's see, 2982 East Fort Lowell Road.
And there's a website, right?
There is a website. It's hydrationweightloss.com.
Mm-hmm. Hydrationweightloss.com.
.com.
And then is there a Facebook page and Instagram?
Hydration Therapy Weight Loss Center.
Okay, Hydration Therapy Weight Loss Center. Yeah, you guys are all over the internet. And there's no way
Yes,
not to find you.
we are. It's not too hard to find us.
Yes. And so from services from nurse practitioner to beauty, aesthetics, there's I mean, what don't you do?
I like to think of it as a one-stop shop,
It really is.
and I truly believe in taking care of your inside as well as your outside.
Mm-hmm.
So I do the family practice, the primary care, the Botox, the fillers, the IV nutritional hydration, and the weight loss. All the things that I love.
And with that, much more compassion and empathy and all the love that you shared with us. Thank you so much for telling
Thank
us your
you.
story. And, you talked a lot about vulnerability, sharing your experiences, and how that makes you so much more courageous because the majority of us think, hey, the easiest thing to do is not be vulnerable. The easiest thing to do is walk away. But you really put yourself out there today. And if you're looking for a nurse practitioner, if you need to go see one, or you're looking for beauty stuff, and I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but if you are looking for that type of stuff, make sure to reach out to your local person, Claudia Sanchez, Hydration Therapy and Weight Loss on Facebook and Instagram. And I'm sure if you Google it, it's going to come up. The phone number again is 520-327-2223. But you've heard the story of a wonderful, amazing person, local business owner who not only has the capacity to take care of you, but you've also heard a little bit about her story and where her heart is when she's going to be taking care of you. So thank you, Claudia, for being here.
Thank you. It was an honor.
Yay. And with this, thank you so much for being a part of the listener group in Lifting You Up with Kasandra Prieto, your best friend in real estate, sponsored by Tucson Appliance and Mr. Tucson, Chris and Corbin Edwards. This is also to empower our community. We want you guys to be taking notes. Have a lot of takeaways. Please tune in next Saturday, 9 a.m. And we are so grateful and in awe of having you with us on this program. Claudia, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll see you guys.